Hi, this is Gabe. Welcome back to part 3 of this video. We are going to be doing the body of the pen. And this is just going to be like we did on the Eddie Van Halen pen, the lower portion, the body. And it's going to be basically designed similar to this, like the Rickenbacker fretboard. So it's going to be the same length, 2 1/8 of an inch. These right here are going to be the aluminum inlays, like you see right here. It's divided into 6 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are going to be the shark teeth. So instead of having dots, it's going to be those teeth like that. And then this top part here is going to be Gabon Ebony, and then on the bottom is going to be Osage Orange. So these are the blanks that I'm going to be using. This is Ebony here, and then this is the Osage Orange. So these are a little bit larger. This is a little bit larger than 3/4 of an inch. This is 7/8 of an inch, and I had to buy the special because your typical pen blank is only 3/4 inch square. These are 7/8 inch, so these were specially ordered. And so anyway, I am going to start with this. I'm going to cut this here on the bandsaw, and then I'm going to cut this in half also. And then once that is cut in half and then sanded, we'll come back and then we will start our preparations for the bottom. Now I'm at my 17-inch bandsaw. I have a 3/4 inch carbide blade, resaw blade, on here for ripping. Off camera, I just cut those to length real quick, 2 1/8 inches here on the bandsaw. On this piece of wood, this is a piece of scrap maple. I put some Gorilla Glue, CA glue. This is the piece of the Ebony, 2 1/8 inch. I'm going to spray that with that, and then stick that to here. And now that's dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sand that flush on both sides. And I'm doing 2 pieces like this because I like making 2 at a time in case something goes wrong with one. I have another one potentially as a backup if needed. Okay, so off camera I drew some lines on there and you can kind of see what those look like. I did that on both sides. And then now I'm going to go and cut some slits here to insert the aluminum next. So I've taken aluminum like this, I've cut it on the bandsaw, and then I've roughed up both sides. And then that is going to get inserted like that. And you see how that looks? Ooh, a little more than expected came out. There. And then that goes in there. So after I put that first one in, you can see I cut the rest of those grooves and then put those pieces in like this. This is 0.20 aluminum. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut those teeth out for the markers. And to speed things up, this is what it will look like. So that's why I made two of them. I like to make two blanks as I go along. In case this one blows up, I have another one as a backup. And you can see here, we're going all the way down to that wood. After we get another one made, just like this, on this side, then I will cut this off on the bandsaw on both sides. And then we will glue that to the Osage Orange. So we will come right back as soon as I draw those markers in. And I just used a regular number 2 pencil to draw those in, which you can see. And then after we cut those out, I'm going to use this Aqua Pearl. I have, these are 12-inch blanks. I split this down the middle and then cut off the pieces that I need to size. So something like this will last quite a while if this is all you did. And one of these days I'll get around to turning a fountain pen with one of these blanks. I have a couple of them. Pretty neat looking stuff. So going back to my pull saw here, let me look at this again. I think I drew that one in reverse, so let me erase that and start over. So this very first one, this is just wood on this side right here. So it's unsupported really from any aluminum or anything. So to keep that from cracking, you either have to be very careful and take very slow cuts. So I'm going to use this real thin saw so I don't put any sideward pressure. You can do it with this. I did the first one by doing that and it was a little precarious, so holding my breath the whole time. So I want to start it with this one here, and I can get a finer cut by doing that. You can see what that looks like right there. You can see we are right at that wood. Looks like it got a little crooked on me. That's okay. Now I'm going to switch to the other saw. Let me reposition this right here. And these are the offcuts of the ebony. And you can see I'm cutting on both sides and I'm leaving a little bit of a gap distance from that aluminum.
Going a little too far.
There, that broke free. Binding up really bad. So now I need to, so I can clean up this side of the cut right here. All right, now that cut has been cleaned up. That looks pretty good now. I just need to do the rest of these right here, but before I do that, I'm going to do these off camera. And then before we can put the Aqua Pearl in here, something we need to do that I did over here, and through trial and error I found that if you don't paint the inside of this before you glue that in, this black will bleed, the color will sort of bleed into it. It doesn't bleed, but the darkness transfers into that white. It dulls it down a bit, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I need to put a barrier in there, so I need to paint that white. So I'm just using some basic nail polish, white nail polish. Cheapest one I could find at my local store on the corner, the Walgreens. CVS or any of those places would have that, Rite Aid, wherever you can find beauty products. So I'm just going to paint that. I'm going to give that 2 coats, let that cure, dry. Because it's January right now where I'm at, this takes several hours to dry because I'm in the garage. It's 40 some degrees outside. So in the garage it's 10 degrees, maybe warmer than that. So this doesn't dry right away. So anyway, when I get these done, I'll paint these, and then when they're all 3 done and ready like that, then we'll go on to the Aqua Pearl. Okay, so now I'm not going to be very precise because these need to be sanded to fit. So I'm just going to take my little saw here and I'm going to cut an oversized piece. And I need 3 of these. There, you can see what that looks like. And then I'll end up just sanding these, trial and error, or slimming it down a little at a time in order to fit inside this gap like that. So I hope that makes sense. But we'll come back after these are all cut. These are all cut and then painted and dried. Okay, it's been a couple hours. This is dried. So, and then I've cut these 3 pieces. And the backside is sanded flush. So each one of these have to be individually fit. So they're all oversized. So I'm just going to do one and then the other 2 I'll do off camera. So I'm just going to start with the big one first. Like that. You can see what that looks like. So quite a bit of that has to come off. So I'm going to turn this on here on this is on my slow speed. Not too much came off, so I want to do it a little bit at a time. As I get a little bit closer, I'm almost there. There. That looks pretty good. Then I'll just put some CA glue in that. Now that that side is cut off, before I sand this side off to where it's nice and flush and glue this Osage Orange to that, I need to put on a sacrificial piece of maple here, real thin, just like this, on this side to stabilize that before I sand all this off, because this is still a little unstable. So I'll do that part off camera, and then I'll show you what I mean when I come back. Okay, so you can see after we glued that on, this is what's supporting what was on the middle. So all I have to do is cut that off. After that is cut off, it looks like this. This is the correct orientation of those of the frets now. And then that's what that will look like once that is cut off. So far, the only thing has to be left to do now is just to drill this out. And then I'll put that inside here. Now the trick is on doing this, sometimes if you have a dull drill bit, this will have a tendency to break or shatter or blow up, is what we call it. So what I like to do is I like to drill from both sides. I like to square the blank so I can make sure it's nice and balanced all the way around and centered when I go in. And if I was worried about how I was going to do things, I would just leave about 1/8 of an inch of this over here, and then I would glue on more wood on the outside, top and bottom, all 4 sides. That way it would be nice and balanced, and this would be supported with this piece of wood right here. But that's not necessary because I'm using sharp bits, and I like using a brad point bit so the bit won't wander as it's being drilled. So we will do that next. All right, now we have a 27/64 drill bit. I'm going to go probably halfway through, flip it around, and then do the same thing on the other side. And as you can see, what I was talking about just happened. So that broke loose. And then that came off there. So that's an easy repair though. All I have to do is just re-glue this back in place, put that in there, and then I'm back in business. Stuff like that happens. Even if you do everything right, it can still happen. So moving forward, what I'll do is I will leave this on here, support the outsides all the way around, make it nice and square before I come back and then re-drill. Okay, we are back now. And as you can see, I splinted this all the way around. And then I re-drilled that hole, no problem. This is what that looks like when it goes on there. So that worked out real well. All I have to do now is just sand this back off. So we will try doing this again. And I am going to be doing this on the dark side up, on the number 1 jaw. Brad point bit there. Now you probably wouldn't have to do this if you have a collet chuck with a big enough diameter. Mine only goes to 3/4 of an inch, so if you had at least a 1 inch diameter, you should be able to safely put that inside there and then redo that to support all the way around. But since these jaws aren't very deep, this will hold that in place. All right, you can see what that one looks like also right there on both sides. If I were to compare that, both of those look really good. These are our blanks that we made earlier. And that goes right on there, 27/64. So perfect. Only thing left to do is just to square up those ends. And I'll do that off camera. And then we can start making the cap blank next in another video. Hey, this is Gabriel Castro. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. You can click on the link right here and subscribe. You can watch a video series right here or the latest video right here.